All right, hello everyone. Hibblin Master Scott Black here. I hope everybody's having a great day. I've got with me today a really good friend by the name of Joseph Tapper. If you recognize him, you may or may not, because the last time you saw him, he had a wig on. Now, I want to address that a little bit before we get into the main topic of today's discussion. We hosted a series of videos, Blendtec versus Vitamix, and what we found is that it was pretty laughable. And we started laughing. It turned into a joke, and I'm sorry that it did, and I'm sorry that it may have offended people, but the fact is that we were not biased towards the Vitamix machine. And yes, at that time, I was a Vitamix demonstrator, but at this time I am no longer a Vitamix demonstrator, and I will still hold to the fact that I believe that the Vitamix is the #1 blender in the world. And it shakes out in every time we do a test. And that's what happened in that. So I want everybody to know that we were sincere in our testing. We did not come into it with a biased standpoint. We did not come into it trying to make fun of the Blendtec. We just shaked it out, and whatever came out is what came out. And so for those of you who got offended, I'm sorry. That stated, however, I still hold to the fact once again that the Vitamix is a great machine. Blendtec is a good machine. Vitamix is a great machine. All right, so today what we're talking about is we're doing high-speed blender testimonies. Regardless if you own a Blendtec, a Vitamix, a Healthmaster, a Ninja, or whatever else may be out there. In fact, there's another one out there we're going to be highlighting pretty soon called a Warring Pro. It's a 3-horsepower machine, and I'm looking forward to actually testing it.
Yeah.
So, that stated, Joe, you are a high-speed blender owner.
Yeah.
I believe you own a Vitamix, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So, tell me a little bit about how you discovered high-speed blending.
Well, it was about 35, 36 years ago when I got my first Vitamix. My wife got diabetes, and during pregnancy, and I heard somewhere that you could use string beans to make insulin, or insulin substitute or something. So you had to have a high-speed blender to do that, and that led us to a Vitamix demonstration, and we purchased a Vitamix, one of the old steel ones.
Nice.
And loud steel thing. Well, I was excited, I was hyped, I was pumped, and I said, all right, baby, we're going to do this. We're going to make our own insulin. I took a bunch of string beans and put some water in there, and I made this liquid. And I gave it to her, and she vomited.
Oh, man.
It was horrible. It was rancid. There's no way. So, for years after that, I couldn't get her to drink anything that I made in the Vitamix. And that went on for years. And then finally, more recently, about 10 years ago, I got back into Vitamix and became a demonstrator. And learned how to make, you helped me with a lot of things, learned how to make some nice, tasty, healthy drinks. And now we use it all the time, making green smoothies and different kind of healthy drinks.
Nice.
So it didn't do what I intended it to do in the beginning, but we came around and it's working fine for us now.
You had to get the insulin from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Not from the green beans. Wow.
That didn't work.
So has the Vitamix impacted your life? Has it helped with cooking? Has it helped with your health? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's really helping with my health and my wife's health, but the main thing that I like about it, one thing I really like about it is convenience.
Okay.
When I get up in the morning, sometimes I just got to run and I don't have time to fix a big breakfast, whether it's a healthy breakfast or unhealthy breakfast, whether I'm going to cook or not cook. But I can easily grab, we always have some greens in the freezer, throw them in there. We've got bananas frozen in the freezer. I throw that in there, throw some almond milk in there, or just put almonds in water, and I can make a smoothie, a nice tasty smoothie, and drink it and know that I've gotten a nice nourishing breakfast.
Sure.
So that's my favorite thing. I do that every day.
Awesome, awesome. So speaking of favorite things, what is your favorite recipe to make inside the Vitamix?
Well, my favorite thing is it's a healthy, not so healthy. It's my green smoothie, kale.
Okay.
I use kale, banana, almond milk, and some Sanka decaf.
Okay, okay.
Because I love the flavor of the coffee in there. It's like one of those things you get at Starbucks, you know, and then sometimes I'll put some Hershey's cocoa and make a nice mocha, cafe mocha drink.
Like a mochaccino.
Yeah, mochaccino.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I was a strict vegan for about 6 years, and I felt great and everything. And but now I'm a conscious eater, and I have a nice kale smoothie. Maybe the Sanka is not the greatest thing in there, but it tastes great. Sure. Cocoa's good. I mean, hey, chocolate's good now, what they say.
Sure.
So I find that I don't have to be extreme, but somewhere in the middle is okay.
And I would agree with that.
All right.
So that's good to hear that you've gone away from strict veganism.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm against being a vegan, but oftentimes you're missing out on some key nutrients, and you can find yourself to actually get into a deficit.
Yeah.
If not in your body, at least mentally.
Yeah.
And spiritually.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of people are going the route that you're talking about right
Yeah.
now. So just a quick tidbit for you. So I don't have a problem from a health perspective of the recipe you just talked about. The only exception would be is your coffee. Try to enjoy a organic coffee. Because normal coffee, they gas it to make it ripen and really tasty. Just like they do bananas and other things.
Right.
Now, coffee is very permeable, believe it or not, and it holds gases. And so one of the gases is formaldehyde.
Oh.
Not good.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah, so organic coffee does not have this gas. And so that's the only change I would make in that particular recipe. Now, I'm not a coffee lover, actually, so that doesn't sound tasty to me at all. But my wife would love it.
Yeah.
She absolutely would love that.
I'm going to do that.
So my favorite recipe, actually, in the Vitamix is, or high-speed blender, is actually just good old-fashioned pink lemonade. I just use 3 cups of red grapes, 2 strawberries, and a quarter to a half a lemon with the peel, with a little bit of ice. Delicious.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's my particular favorite recipe. Well, great. So how long do you still have that old steel?
I do.
Vitamix?
I still have it, and I used to use it during my demonstrations on occasion. I would cut that thing on, and it sounded like a jet landing.
Sure.
It sounded really loud, but it still runs.
Sure.
Still runs.
I used to tell customers that those old-fashioned ones, they sounded like tanks, but they're built like tanks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was doing a demonstration. I was helping a friend of ours, Michael, and Michael was doing the demonstrations, and I was helping him at a recent health show. And I had a guy come in, and he said, "Love my machine, love Vitamix, they're great machines. Bought my machine in 1951.
Wow.
Still running. 64-year-old machine,
Wow.
Still running.
Yeah.
It's just amazing." Yeah.
That's not good for business.
Not good for business, for sure, for sure. Now, you've upgraded, though. You have a newer Vitamix.
I've got a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, so what's the latest model that you have?
I went 5200, and that was the last new version I got. And that does everything I need.
Nice. I will say, while we're mentioning 5200, I know when you go on the Vitamix website now, it's confusing.
Yeah.
There's a boatload of machines on there now. And that happened for a couple reasons. First, it started happening because we put the machine, I'm still acting like a Vitamix representative. Vitamix put their machines in Williams-Sonoma and Sur La Table and a few other high-end retailers. Williams-Sonoma required a higher-end product, so that's where it all started. So they started creating something a little different, a little better for their clientele. Then the company went to the model of putting this on QVC and the Home Shopping Network. And when they did that, each time it went on to the television network, it had to be a new machine, quote, unquote, new machine. And so you'll see the 5200, for instance, you'll see it relabeled CIA, not the Central Intelligence Agency. It's the Culinary Institute of America. And they may put a short container on it. Or they may make it blue instead of silver. Ultimately, here's what I believe. The 5200 and the 5000, those are the most stable, well-known Vitamix machines on the market today. The 5000 model and the 5200 model are the most reliable, most trustworthy, and most diverse out of all the Vitamix category. All those new machines got some great bells and whistles. They got timers and mechanisms on them now. But one thing that Vitamix is notoriously known for is long lasting, as you well know. You still have one of the old machines.
Yeah.
These buttons are actually manual in nature, and they're just flip and switch. New Vitamix machines are computer driven.
Oh.
And I'm a little concerned that the computer mechanisms will not last for 40 and 50 years, like the old machines.
Yeah.
So, well, great. So, awesome. So, just as a wrap up here, Joe, what recommendations and what would you say to somebody who's thinking about purchasing a high-speed blender, regardless if it's a Vitamix or not? What advice would you give them?
I would give them the advice to think about how much effort they're willing to put into using it. Now, if they're not really going to spend a lot of time doing it and the convenience, they may want to get one of the newer ones or even a BlendTech. That was one thing that BlendTech did. They had automation that people liked over Vitamix.
Sure.
Some people told me when I was demonstrating is that, you know, I'm just too lazy to do all that work, so they like the timers. Well, if that's you, then you can do that.
Sure, sure. And to that, I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to. BlendTech has come out with a really nice container, and it's really wide. It's not this wide, but it's a really wide container, and because of that, you need to tamper less and less with this really wide blade set and really wide container. And so it's made it even easier. So there is an advantage to the new BlendTech containers that they're nice and wide, and remember that smoothie recipe that we did and it didn't chop up the whole apple?
Right.
I think it may be able to now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
so
we'll revisit that.
we might revisit it. Who knows? I'd like to do a series of comparison videos with all the blenders.
Yeah.
With Ninja, with Oster, with Healthmaster, with NutriBullet, and so on.
Yeah.
So,
As long as they got a good return policy.
Costco does.
Yeah, that's right.
Costco does. So, anything else you'd like to say before we let this go?
Nope. I'm still happy with my product. And with my old machine, all I had to do, I had a switch that went bad.
Okay.
And I replaced that myself. But I look for quality, and I look for things that are going to last, because I don't want to spend that kind of money again.
Sure.
And that's why I like Vitamix.
Yeah, and that's why I like Vitamix as well. I will say, BlendTech also makes a fairly good product. I've found customers now that have owned BlendTech for 8 and 10 years at a time.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Osters and Healthmasters, Ninjas and Magic Bullets, they do not last for 10 years at a time. So if you're going to get a high quality product, Vitamix #1, BlendTech right up there with it. Well, thank you for your time today. You're going to see a whole series of these testimonies, and I appreciate your time, Joe. And this is Head Blend Master Scott Black, wishing that you become a blend master. Blend smoother, blend with greater diversity, blend faster, and become a blend master. And above all, keep on blending, guys. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.